Hello, all my inspirations, and welcome to the third episode of Inspirational, where we have special guests who share their journeys and stories with us all in hope that we will be inspired, encouraged, and blessed, and to let us know that there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Today, we have a special guest with us. Her name is Dr. Hope Reid. Her channel name is Hope Reid, and we're going to be discussing how she overcame anxiety and panic attacks. So this is going to be a great program and discussion today. So guys, thank you ever so much. I know that I've seen some people in the building already, so I just want to say hello to some people. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. The Francis family, God bless you. Thank you ever so much. Teacher S. Higgins, thank you so much for being here. Queen Lizzie, thank you so much. Aya, thank you so much. God bless you. Sunshine Rare Random, thank you so much for being here. Today's going to be such a good day. Happy Saturday to you all. Thank you so much. Cooking with Renique, God bless you. Thank you so much. So yes, this is going to be an awesome discussion. So I'm going to welcome our guest today. Like I said already, her name is Hope Reid. So much. Welcome, our guest. This is going to be an awesome discussion. So I'm going to welcome our guest today. Like I said already, her name is Hope Reid.
Hold on.
Much. Welcome, our guest.
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, we're good. Okay, so lovely to see you.
Nice to be here. Nice to see you. Thank you.
And happy belated birthday. Oh my gosh, I did not know it was your birthday. I was on Facebook today and I was like, oh my gosh, it was your birthday yesterday.
It was my birthday. And you know what? I took the day off and I had an opportunity to join so many lives yesterday. So it was good.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yes. So I know I'm calling you Dr. Hope Reid because I don't think many of us knew that you were actually a doctor. So yeah, I want you to tell us a bit about yourself, but for the sake of the conversation, should I address you as Dr. Hope Reid or should I?
Okay. Just call me Hope. It's fine.
Okay. So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself, please. Just a little bit.
Okay, no problem. Well, as you said, I am a doctor of chiropractic. I've been practicing for about just over 20 years. And for the last 15 years, I practiced with my husband, who's also a chiropractor. I have two beautiful children. One just turned 11 and almost 14-year-old. And, I love the Lord. I am the youngest of 7 children.
Wow.
So I come from a large family. My husband is like 10 of 11. So we come from huge families. But, I was brought up in the church. And, like I said, I really love the Lord. I love practicing in the profession that I'm in. And God just have been so good. And I feel so remarkably blessed. So I want to thank you for, this platform and just giving us an opportunity to have a conversation, right? So, yeah, that's it.
Awesome lady, awesome channel. Every time I look at your channel, you always teach us new ways, exercises. Me and my mom will be sitting down and I'm doing this and she's doing that. But honestly, it helps. It really does help.
Good.
I feel like it's very useful. So today, and everybody is saying happy birthday to you, by the way. I can see a lot of happy birthdays. Yes, so we're going to be speaking about, of course, anxiety and panic attacks today. Now, I want to know, and I want you to tell us, of course, how you overcame this. Sure. But one thing I want to kind of put out there and ask if this sounds quite right is, before a panic attack, I believe you have to be anxious or feel anxious. So I believe that anxiety can lead to a panic attack. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So what made you anxious?
Okay.
And then how did the panic attack come about? Because some of us could be anxious, but maybe not have a panic attack. Right. Some of us could be anxious and then have a panic attack. So how How did it start?
Okay. Well, no, that's a great question. So with anxiety, I think when I think about the body and the human body, I always just thank God, because we are really fearfully and wonderfully made. And he created us. We have a certain level of anxiety is normal, right? So if you get a new job or you're going to do a presentation and you get a little anxious, that's normal. And if I can just spend maybe 2 minutes, just kind of, I don't want to get deep on like anatomy, but the way that, our body is created, our central nervous system controls and coordinate every function of our body. And when we are anxious, our brain releases chemicals that goes to our adrenal gland, and it pretty much prepares us for fight or flight. We've heard the sympathetic nervous system prepares your body to either fight or run, right? And so a part of that system, it increases your heart rate, it gets your breathing elevated, and just a lot of things happen. But normally, after that happens, your body kind of relaxes and the hormone levels goes back to regular. So when you have anxiety, for me, I feel that increased heart rate. Usually the things, and it happened for me very subtle. Like there wasn't different people, anxiety is triggered for different people by different things. Sometimes it's a traumatic event, sometimes it's a memory of something. And for a lot of people, it's just a buildup of stress. And that's what it was. In a short period of time, I went through, over about a 3-year period, I went through a whole lot of stress. And me being the doctor, the wife, the mom, the sister, I just kind of pushed through. And, I lost my mom. That was a really trying experience. And within 2 years, I lost both parents. I relocated, I opened a new business, and I was just pushing.
A lot going on.
A lot going on. And there were signs, but you kind of just push it down because you got stuff to do, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the first time, my first memory of something being kind of off, I was at a health fair. And usually, I'm there, I have my assistant, we're giving out health information. I decided to walk around, and I saw there was this booth that had a paramedic. And he had, the rescue breathing, the mannequin. And I remember seeing a tiny rescue apparatus. And immediately, like simultaneously, my mind saw my baby with the apparatus on their face. And I felt just like an electric sensation went through my body, and my heart rate elevated. And I walked away because I was like, well, how did that happen? I wasn't consciously seeing my child needing a rescue equipment, but that's how anxiety works. It kind of just, your mind kind of just puts you in a worst case scenario. And that's what started happening. And every time it happened, I noticed my breathing elevated. And so I never had a chance to relax. I was constantly in that heightened sense of fight or flight, and so I want to say the difference between anxiety and panic is anxiety, there's usually a trigger. You have, something that triggers that anxious feeling. With panic attacks, usually, for me, there was no trigger. I would be happy, not thinking about anything, and out of the blue, I start having like really fearful, feelings, and it just escalated from there. So for me, it was a subtle onset.
Yeah, because one thing that stood out to me when you were speaking is, when it comes to the anxiety, it's almost like you look at that situation in the worst case scenario. And so even before you have, like, for example, you could be anxious about, I don't know, an interview, a new job. It's normal to feel what am I gonna, what's gonna happen? And I guess being a student, even exams, things like that, But when we start to think, I guess, of the worst case scenario,
Right.
I feel like then we start to imagine us not fitting into that group,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Or not
Mhm.
passing that exam, or not
Right.
being good at that, you know, that new job or whatever it is.
Mhm.
So yeah, and of course, when it comes to anxiety, I believe that even in the Bible, you know, Jesus was saying that be anxious for nothing. And I
Mhm.
believe there was a reason why he said that, because he knows that this is something that we're going to face in this world. Do
Right.
you understand? So it's almost like, be anxious for nothing, put all your trust in me, and I'm going to lead you. However, we definitely all have those times in our life where we're thinking, oh my gosh, you know, I
Mhm.
remember my friend, you know, one time she was telling me that she used to be anxious to go to school. She would not sleep. She would just watch the clock
Oh.
like tick. She'll wait for 7
Mhm.
because she's just so anxious. Do you understand?
Right.
Yeah. So when I mean, I know you told us that you was at your the first time you had the panic attack was when you were at that
Yeah,
when you
that wasn't a full-blown panic attack. That was
were
just my first feeling, recognizing that feeling of
mm,
anxiety, right?
oh right.
So, you know, just over like the next few years, and I think what happens, and I talk about silent sufferers, because there's
Right.
a lot of people that are dealing with anxiety, but they don't know how to name it. They don't realize that is what's
Mm,
happening to them. So there will be several triggers over. I mentioned I'm a healthcare professional. There'll be times I'm talking to a patient, and I know a lot of my patients dealt with anxiety, and they'll be explaining something like they're having increased heart rate, and something in their conversation would trigger my own anxiety. And
oh, okay.
because I
Wait. So when you're basically sitting down having a discussion with them and you're
Mhm,
doing a consultation, they may
mhm,
say something and you're thinking, whoa. So how do
yeah.
you deal with that?
So, in the moment,
Hmm.
you try to do everything you can to remain calm. And one of my big things before I actively started to try to manage it was I
Mm,
would breathe and I would talk to myself, right?
right,
I would quote scriptures, and
right.
I would do affirmation. And for a minute there, in the midst of talking to a patient, my head is going, mm-hmm, but my mind is like trying to calm
Yeah,
myself down.
right.
Eventually I get to a point where I have to excuse myself. And
Mm-hmm.
I've done it on a couple of occasions where I ran out of the room and like went outside, got some fresh air, took a few deep breaths. Just God hasn't given me a spirit of fear, and just kind of
Mm,
just do these recite scriptures. And once I was calm again, I returned like nothing happened and just kind of continued, and
yeah.
that was okay for a little bit. But different things, like I would feel anxious on the road. Just you get in traffic, and you know that thought process. You see maybe a close call, or your mind just start imagining, what if that car moves over on you and you see yourself in an accident? And I
Mm,
start to just
mm,
every normal thing that happens in life, my mind was telling me like I said, it was imagining that worst case scenario.
scenario, yeah.
And I still run early in the morning with one of my friends, and I was having like difficulty breathing. And so
Mm,
I decided, all right, let me go to a doctor, because
mm,
um, I'm having, but I thought I was having heart issues. My heart is racing. I'm having breathing issues. And I went to my primary, just, having a conversation, to kind of see it, make sure my heart is okay. And we went
mm,
through the entire heart stress test and all of, and my heart was perfectly fine. We did uh, EKG and all of these things, and my heart was
yeah.
fine. He gave me a prescription for Xanax, and I know that Xanax is a anti-anxiety medication, and it
Right.
kind of confirmed what I thought maybe. We never discussed anxiety in my meeting with the doctor. but he said, just here's a prescription for Xanax. Just, take a half a pill and
Right.
take the edge off. And, you know,
what did you feel? No, what was you thinking? Why are you prescribing me this? How did you feel about that?
Well, I thought because we didn't have the conversation about anxiety, he was just testing my heart. And I think sometimes as a physician, sometimes we go in, once physicians know that you're a physician, they don't go through the whole thing. They treat you a little bit differently because they expect a level of knowledge on your part. So, we didn't go through the entire conversation. He checked my heart. My heart was good. I was referred to a cardiologist. My heart was good. And with this prescription, I didn't say anything to him, but for me, it kind of confirmed that, okay, maybe he thinks I'm anxious as well. So let me do more research into how I can manage the anxiety.
Right. I'm just curious because I know you were saying a few seconds ago that when you would sit down with some of your, your patients, you'll be talking to them and something could trigger, or bring on a feeling of anxiety. I'm curious to know, what would it be? Would it be a specific phrase or would it be a sentence that would trigger? What would that sentence sound like? I'm just quite curious. Yeah.
Sure. So I remember one specific time that I had a huge anxious feeling. Was I was talking to a patient and she was saying that she thinks she is dealing with anxiety because when she's so afraid to drive on the highway. So she lived a little bit away from the office and it would have been an easy 10-minute drive, but she would take the back road. And even taking the back road, she said she felt like, she gets so nervous and her heart starts to race. And she's describing symptoms that I'm normally having. And as she's describing her symptoms, I'm feeling them, so for that particular time, any little thing that I dealt with and I hear it with someone else, it triggered something for me.
Yeah.
So, or someone talking about their child is ill or their mom died or, anything like just the smallest things that doesn't normally bother someone triggered a anxiety attack for me.
Right. That's yeah, I can totally understand that. Sometimes I feel like when we are, I guess, when we've passed through an experience, our discussions with another person can sometimes bring back those same feelings.
Right.
And it can be uncomfortable. So like you said, you would step out usually of the conversation. And you said that you'll speak to yourself. You will quote scriptures. What were the scriptures you were quoting? What were some of your favorite ones that is like your go-to scriptures whenever you had that feeling?
Sure. I mentioned one of them. God hasn't given me a spirit of fear, and my peace I give to you, not as the world giveth, I give to you. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And I would just, and let me mention this, Marie. Before I made an effort to, or before I started taking steps to overcome, these were some of the things that I was doing when I decided that I am going to, seek God on this particular issue. My intentions changed. So I was quoting scriptures and I was giving myself affirmation. And there was a point where I was so anxious, I thought, for lack of a better word, I thought I was going insane because I was tired of hearing my voice inside my head encouraging myself, because I'm encouraging myself 24/7 and I'm still anxious. So I started to say, now, what's going on? Because we say, okay, it's about how you think and about, talking to yourself. But sometimes, and for some people, there's something beyond just the thought process that's triggering. So I needed to investigate that.
So what did you do? Like, what was your investigation like? What did that look like?
Sure. Well, a part of my investigation was I ran some blood work on myself.
Okay.
And just knowing that, there are certain deficiencies that enhance, your reaction to certain things. One of my biggest thing was that my vitamin D was really low. The average or the sufficient amount is supposed to be about 30 nanogram per milliliter in your blood. Mine was 10. And once that came back, the doctor gave me a prescription vitamin D dose. So I did that. Then I went into prayer and fasting, right? I wanted to detox myself. So I started out with just a clean fast, and then I did a Daniel's fast, and I did that for 21 days. And
clean fast, like no food,
just drinking water for a few days, just to really just take that time and in prayer and seeking God and detoxifying my body. Then I incorporated, certain herbs. I started taking supplements like ashwagandha, which is a herb that helps with stress. And I did the fast and prayer and got in scripture. And over the actually for about 3 months of doing this, the anxiety decreased significantly. And I didn't go into like the panic attacks. I was having anxiety attacks or anxiety feelings so often that it led to, for me, I believe just being in that heightened state of fight or flight led to a panic attack. And when I had my first panic attack was nothing like what I've experienced before, right? That particular time that it happened, I was in a grocery store and my children were young. So, my time was doing my grocery at night. When I home, I get time for me. I've left work and I was happy. It was a great day. I didn't have a lot of anxiety that day. And so I was feeling good. There was nothing. And I'm in the grocery store just singing and talking, and out of the blue, my heart started like racing. And so I started thinking, well, why is my heart racing? And then I feel that familiar sensation of like an electric sensation just wash over me. And if you were in the grocery store looking, you would have seen that my eyes were wide open, that fear that came over me. I couldn't breathe. Like I felt like I couldn't catch my breath and my legs were about to give out from under me. And I stood there and I debated whether I should run to my car. Just abandon the situation because it felt so dire. And it was in the time when I started to, look at anxiety. I was doing a lot of research and seeing some of the causes. And I knew that mine was stress induced because I was under a lot of stress. And I decided to just breathe, go through my checks. I call it a pivot check, which is something that I developed a whole course around early during the pandemic.
Let us know.
I call it the pivot. I started doing my pivot, and the first, it's an acronym, and I won't go deep into it, but it's about where am I? What place? P is for place. Where am I? And so my thing was wherever I was when I'm having an anxiety attack or feeling panic was to change location, right? Because that distracts your brain. Like if I'm inside, I go outside. If I'm sitting down, I stand up. So I was in the grocery store with my cart, panicked, and just, I wish I had a camera to look back at what I might have looked like, but I just decided, so I to change location. So I started weak and wobbly trying to push my cart. I the I is for inhale, exhale. I was breathing, taking deep breaths. And it seemed like it took forever, although it might not have been that long. But when you're in the midst of it,
Yeah.
scary feeling.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Like you're gonna pass out, right? You
Yeah.
feel like, this might be this might be it.
No, it's an awful feeling. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
So it was a very awful feeling. So I started to breathe and I started to validate my feelings. Like, okay, it's not what's real. It's my perception of what's going on, right? You're not dying. You're not going to pass out. Your body is just going through this thing and you have to get through it. So I validated my feelings. And then, I was just praying and talking to God in the midst of it. And then, that it comes down to the T of talking, just talking to God, and my mouth was moving in the grocery store, but I decided to take a few steps and I started moving. And by the time I bend the corner to the next aisle, it was like as quickly as that attack came, it was gone.
Wow.
And I was just thanking God because, the longer I stayed there, the longer it felt like it was not leaving, Yeah. So that kind of helped me through it. But I've had a few panic attacks to the point where it had gotten pretty bad, Marie, because I remember being home in bed with my husband. And I said, I was trying to go to sleep and I was just panicked, so anxious, so nervous. And I sat up and I yelled out, I said, Lord, help me.
Yes.
That's all you can do. It was just too much because it was constant, heightened sensation. And he heard me, it was probably about 1:00 in the morning. My husband said, let's go outside. And it was a cold night. And we walked outside and we talked about it and, just changing the location. And, it was a very difficult time, but God is faithful, and I think that if you're able, there are some people that obviously will need medication. And I did research on the medication, and I know I did enough to know that it doesn't always work for everybody. And I know people right now who have been taking anti-anxiety medication for 10, 20 years. I didn't want that to be my reality. So I wanted to do something else. And, just really just paying attention to how I was feeling and taking those steps to help get through it. And it's been such an amazing journey because I've been able to help even my patients who not as a doctor, but as someone who experienced that, who've gone through it. I kind of, just talk to them and give them tools that they can use to kind of overcome.
Yeah, I feel like we're all learning so much. I'm seeing so many comments, and definitely I'm seeing questions as well. I believe that we want to ask you some questions. So please be encouraged, everybody, to write your questions, and I'm going to definitely be reading them out to our lovely sister Hope. But I feel like we have learned so much. And one thing I think when it comes to panic attacks, and what I like what you did in the grocery store was that, when you panic and you panic more, I feel like it creates a bigger thing in your mind. So something that could be small that you are looking at in a big way and you're making it creates more. So usually you see people like when they're having a panic attack, sometimes you can see people breathing, deeply, then they start breathing faster. It's like the panic is becoming more, rising, the panic is just rising and rising. So that point where you stopped and spoke to yourself and thought, and said, you're not going to faint, you're not going to pass out, you're actually okay. I think it's a big, big, big tool, especially in our minds. Anybody can have a panic at any time. Sometimes it could be through a trauma as well, because I remember when I hit like a curb. It was like it was like an island. There's something in the middle of the road that kind of, when you want to cross the road, you stop there and then you wait for the cars. And I hit that. And I remember that for like a good 2 weeks after, when I hit the curb, I would feel a bit nervous on the road.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And I had to take my time and say, it's all right. You're not going to hit. Just be careful, just as you do, you know, on the road. Be careful, be vigilant. But I know how it feels to have that uncomfortable feeling. But in my mind, I know that I'm in control of how I'm thinking about that situation. Right. If I start saying, "Oh my gosh, you're gonna hit," you know, you're gonna start shaking. You know, the wheels gonna start moving, and
exactly.
And then you could actually have an accident. So I think being in that, trying to calm down, as hard as it sounds. Obviously, if you're panicking, you're trying to calm down. It's like the opposite of what you want to do, but really, it's necessary because sometimes things are not that, you know, big, but we make it big in our heads.
And it comes to practice too. You know, it might take you 10 minutes to calm down the first time and 7 the next time. It's a progress, you know, it's progressive. So it comes with practice.
Absolutely. Yes, I do agree with that as well. So I'm just going to take some comments and also read some questions to you. Okay. So everybody is basically, this is Pink Motivation. Welcome. And I just want to welcome everybody. God bless you all. Thank you so much for being here. We truly, truly appreciate your time. Yes, Pink Motivation has said, this is much needed. Yeah, this conversation is totally much needed. Welcome, people chosen by grace. God bless you. Thank you so much. So I have a question here from JE Online. So the question is anxiety the same as overthinking everything?
So, well, the thing is, overthinking, it's a little bit different. Anxiety is usually associated with the symptoms that you're having. So if you're overthinking just leads to procrastination, you might want to evaluate, why are you overthinking? Is it something that you really don't want to do, or you're just not sure you'll be successful, or you'll fail? And I like to call it analysis paralysis. You're thinking about something so much before you want to do it. But with anxiety, there is a level of a sensation that happens. So the fight or flight, it's a physiological event that occurs in addition to your thought process. So your heart rate is usually elevated. You feel that that lightning sensation throughout your body. Your breathing is either hyperventilating or so there are physiological things that happen when you're having an anxious feeling, because it is in some ways a chemical reaction. So the brain is telling your body to produce, or it's sending hormones to your adrenal glands that tell your body to produce cortisone and adrenaline. And the response you feel are the result of that adrenaline and cortisol in your system. So anxiety is more the response of your body to a stressor or perceived threat or something, versus just overthinking. Now, overthinking can lead to anxiety. It's not managed, right?
Absolutely.
But there's definitely a slight difference in that.
Great question. Great question. Thank you for answering that. Yes. God bless you, Sister Effa. Thank you so much for being here. We truly appreciate you. I know there's another question. Let me get to it. God bless you, virtual church. Good to see you. Yes, I had another question. I don't know where it is. I saw it. It was EM. Everyday Matters. Yeah. So this question is, did your anxiety and panic attacks come as a result of a past experience?
That's a really good question. The thing is, a lot of people deal with anxiety as a result of past experiences, or and usually some type of post-traumatic stress. And a lot of people, I think in my case, came about with those past experiences leading to a stressful lifestyle. So I believe now, if I go back to before I started having anxious feelings in 2008, we were in a great recession in the United States, right?
Right.
I had a practice, and I was practicing. That was the same year that my mom got sick. And for a while there, she was in and out the hospital, and we didn't know what was going on with her. And when we finally got a diagnosis in October, she died that December. And I remember like my body just being stressed. Now, different people, like I said, respond to stress differently. One of the indicators my body was stressed, and I talked to my husband about it the other day. Like, I'm a brown skinned person, and all along my arm there were white like patches going up my arm. So at first I like, what is that? I thought maybe I rubbed it or it was dry. I went to the doctor about it, and I was diagnosed with something very rare. It's a stress-induced depigmentation. So the pigments along the nerves that was going from my neck to my head was dying because I was stressed. And once that happened in 2008, my mom passed. And like I mentioned, we moved, and I opened a business. I had a new baby. There were so many things that happened in that short amount of time. I think just trying to manage and be Wonder Woman, which we're not, right? But we just think we can handle it all. And I think my anxiety was the culmination of all of that stress.
Yeah.
It wasn't a specific thing I can pinpoint, but definitely I believe it was a culmination of things.
Yeah. And it's true, because I feel like, thank you for that question, Everyday Matters. I feel like even when it comes to stress and anxiety, definitely you may feel funny in your body. You know something isn't right, you know, whether you're getting headaches. I know there was a workmate I was working with, and he was saying that, you know, when he's having his anxiety and going through his panic attacks, he usually gets headaches, he feels dizzy, he feels sick, you know, because you know, sometimes when you're anxious, you can actually feel like you want to throw up.
Yeah.
So he would say that he would feel nauseous. It was just completely, you know, he just was not comfortable. And I remember when it comes to like stress, and even with the profession, like social work profession that I'm in, that is a very stressful job. And I know that a lot of people would be off sick for stress. We know. I don't even need to ask you what why, because I just know the fact that you're here doing what you're doing, you're probably going to feel some sort of stress, right? But some people be getting physical illness because of this stress. And it's just such a, you know, I remember my friend, she was saying that she couldn't even reach for something in the cupboard because her muscles, as a result of the stress, had actually had an effect on her muscles, so she couldn't even lift something. Like, it's very, very, when a lot comes in at one time, I don't know, it's like the body is trying to tell us to just take time out and just sit down. But like you said, it's like we want to be Wonder Woman. And then we're like, no, we need to do it. We need to keep going. We need to keep going. But your body is telling you, no, you know, you need to look after yourself.
And it's so amazing that you mentioned those symptoms from your you know, the people that you're experiencing. Nausea, I had the muscle cramping or tightness, I've also experienced. It doesn't always happen with every bout, but those were some of the things that, you know, I experienced. And the thing about your body is it cannot distinguish good stress from bad stress. Right. So, you know, planning for a wedding or having a baby, your body physiologically interprets it the same. Sometimes the only difference is your mental state is more conducive to joy versus, you know, the panic or anxiety. So your body interprets it the same. So, you know, it's just a matter of how your specific body responds to those stressors.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. It's true. Because like you're saying, if you're planning a wedding or a birthday, it's so funny you say that because every day on my birthday, I feel anxious. Even though it's a good feeling, I'm thinking, oh,
Mhm.
this is too much. It's my birthday. I'm getting 500 messages here, there. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It could be a lot to deal with. However,
Mhm.
it's related to positivity. So you can
Right.
get through it, you can get by it
Right.
because you're experiencing the ha ha ha. But
Mhm.
really, the night before, you can't sleep.
True. Exactly.
But it's just a lot. So you're right. It's different. The feeling of joy, happiness, as opposed to the feeling of sadness,
Mhm.
grief, like you were speaking about
Mhm.
your mother. I'm so sorry to
Mhm.
hear about her loss. That
Thank you.
related to stress is not a good combination
Mhm.
at all. And
Mhm.
definitely, like we established, we can see it physically or feel it physically in our
Mhm.
bodies. Yeah. So it's so interesting. Everyday matters is laughing at me. It's so true. But yes, Sister Hope. So what I wanted to know, and in terms of anybody that's going through anxiety or panic attacks, what is the advice you will give them? I know you've definitely spoken to us and you've given us a lot
Mhm.
of information already. I've learned a lot too.
Mhm.
But if you were speaking to someone one to one in a room and they were saying that
Mhm.
they're having these feelings, what would you say to them?
Well, the first thing I would say to them is talk about it, right?
Mm,
Because oftentimes, when you're dealing with something like that, and you are, and I go back to those silent sufferers, anxiety and panic attack are often stigmatized as, you're weak, or you're unpredictable, or you just can't make up your mind is the reason you're anxious. And I think speaking to someone about it, or talking about it, is the first step. I know when I was going through it, and I didn't take my own advice, I didn't talk, like I mentioned, I'm the youngest of 6 7, and I'm close with my sisters, but none of my sisters knew what I was going through. The only person that dealt with me through that was my husband. Uh,
mm,
and because I wanted one person that I could, really confide in. So talking about your feelings,
mm-hmm,
um, and realizing maybe someone else may be experiencing the same thing, talking about it will help you to pinpoint what your triggers might be,
right.
right? Because if you don't know what your triggers are, you're going to keep going through the same cycle. But
Mm-hmm,
if you can pinpoint and talk about what those triggers are, then that can be the first step of navigating a different path to help, one, your body or your mind think differently, or deal with those potential triggers differently. Another thing I would always recommend too is getting some blood work. It says a lot when you look at your blood work, and if you're there's so much research out there as to vitamin deficiency or other deficiencies that may be a simple fix,
yeah,
that your body is trying to let you know that this is off, but because it's not being addressed, you don't know. So then your body is just constantly trying to respond to what's going on internally, and you're unaware of that. So I would definitely say talking about it and getting some blood work. Another thing that helped me tremendously was, not everybody are Christians, but going into a period of fasting and prayer, when I say talk, I spoke to my husband a lot, but I talked to God a
mm,
whole lot more,
right,
because sometimes when I was feeling anxious and I started to, just to share my thoughts and my feeling with God, I know that He knows. And I'm like, Lord, you got to help me. And just being able to go in a period of fasting and detoxing my body and praying and getting in the scriptures, I found so much encouragement from the Word of
mm,
God. And that was able to help me that if I did feel anxious, that word was in my heart. So I was able to just bring that through and just know that, he won't leave me nor forsake me. He's here with me. And that helped as well. So, but like I mentioned, if you don't have somebody to talk to, consult a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I would recommend a psychologist before psychiatry, but a psychologist. There are one of the things that I was privileged to do is cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
Really, what it does, if you think about the word cognitive or cognition, it's just your thinking and behavior, how your thoughts affect your behavior.
Right.
You can actually do certain things when you have these thought processes that helps. So be encouraged. It's not, it's not the end. Yeah, and you can overcome it. You can even overcome it without medication if that's the route that you are looking at. I never filled the prescription for Xanax. I have never taken a medication, and I haven't had a panic attack in about 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
So it's possible to overcome. At the beginning of the pandemic, the things like this can potentially trigger old symptoms that you felt came. There's this whole worldwide pandemic and this virus. And for me, I knew that I had been through anxiety and panic attacks. So I was proactive. At the beginning of the pandemic, I and my family, and it becomes a joke in my family, we taken a concoction every evening. That concoction was, spinach, vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, and we drank that every night because I said, I want to make sure that I'm at least getting my immune system functioning. And, God forbid if I did get it, I have a better fighting chance. But, thank God has, kept our family. And so having that boosting our immune system from the inside, we have our drip, our Bible studies every week. And we just kind of keep our minds focused. I am constantly, I've never seen my children experience anxiety, but this whole thing, they start to they get anxious about, going back to school or what this virus mean. And just being able to navigate them through this experience has been, such a blessing. So if you've experienced anxiety, it may take some time for you to just take a look at your life, do an assessment, and see what are some of the things that are potentially triggering those symptoms. And for me, even sometimes during an anxiety, it's such an important thing to distract your brain, right? Because your brain is trying to tell you that this thought that you're having, it's perceiving it as threat. And it's not necessarily it doesn't have to be an actual threat, but if you perceive it, your body responds the same way. If you see a dog, wanting to bite you, your body responds the same way as if but if you are able to kind of confront those triggers, then you'll be able to better navigate. And that's the first step, I believe.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much, Sister.
You're welcome.
Yes. I'm just going to read a couple comments and questions just to wrap it up. So Sister Effa says, I always feel like running to the bathroom when I'm anxious or panic. My stomach gets upset. Is that normal? I think we can.
That's very normal. Part of the thing, the parasympathetic, we say fight or flight or sometimes freeze. But the sympathetic is fight or flight or sometimes freeze, but the parasympathetic, it's rest or digest. And sometimes in an anxious period, your digestive system relaxes, right? The normal peristalsis of your digestive system doesn't happen and it wants to empty. And that's the same reason why sometimes you're fearful and you see television, people wet themselves or whatever. Your body, your biological system, or will kind of just, depending on what's going on, your digestive system might relax, or the peristalsis is different in your digestive system, and it encourages you to use the restroom. I'm the same way too. So
yeah, I think we can all relate.
Something nerve-wracking and you run straight to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's completely normal.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for that question, Sister FR. I just want to welcome Minister of Music. God bless you. Thank you so much. Terence Trower. Thank you so much, Sister Gwen. I really appreciate your time. Thank you ever so much, my Rev Comfort. Thank you ever so much for your time. Thank you all. Yes, so Life with Leonard, God bless you, says one should not let your mind bully your body into believing it must carry the burden of its worries. For me, the greatest weapon against stress is the ability to choose one thought over another. That's literally what you were just saying now. Yeah,
that's right. The scriptures say you have to take your thoughts captive. You can't control what thoughts go into your head, but you can control the thoughts you decide to focus on. And so that becomes, such an important tool, that when the thoughts come into your head, you can send them back from whence it came and focus on thoughts that are uplifting and thoughts that will not burden you.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. And then Virtual Church says, I find many times we don't address our physical body's needs, and we need to grow in our education around this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's so true, because obviously we have one body, right? This is our temple. And oftentimes when we neglect our temple, we don't have a backup body, right? And so that definitely needs to be addressed. I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, it's true, because it's true. You're so right. We only have one body. So the fact of the matter is that even at a time when maybe we're going through, some sort of anxiety, panic attacks, whatever, at some point we probably need to sit down and take time out just to recoup and for our body to kind of just heal itself and just calm down, So yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, Rainforest says, this is interesting. Can you ask if there is any stigma is there any stigma about panic attacks?
There absolutely is. And that's why I alluded to people will suffer in silence, because there's a stigma that you have mental health issues, or, and back in the day, even when I was growing up as someone in the church people didn't have mental health, because that just meant you weren't talking to God enough, or you weren't as spiritual as you needed to be.
Right.
Nowadays, I'm glad there's a lot more discussion. And that's why I said it's important to talk about it, because the more you talk about it, the more you realize that so many people are dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm an older person, but the younger generation are always talking about their, mental health day. And, we're talking about it more because it's important to take time, not just for your physical health, but your mental health. And so there has been a stigma around people having panic attacks, or people have anxiety. It just has a negative connotation to it. But I believe that that's changing, because the more people are talking about it, and the more that we realize that so many people are dealing with mental health issues that can be overcome, it makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. A lot of people are agreeing with you. Yes. So Kenny has a question. Miss Kenny says, is it better to take supplements or find a root that contains vitamin D?
Well, that's a very good question. The thing is, there's a lot of foods that contain vitamin D, like fatty fish. You would have to eat enough of those foods to get your blood levels to the recommended level. And most of us don't. So you would have to eat a lot of, fatty fish oils, mackerel, just a whole bunch of, egg yolk, things like that, that contains vitamin D. The easiest way is definitely supplementation. You get a portion from sunlight, but a lot of us don't spend a lot of times in the sun without slathering ourselves with sunscreen. So supplementation would be like the best recommendation, but definitely a combination.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Kenny, for that question. Okay, God bless you, Dr. Severin. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Dr. Severin says, good afternoon, great topic. The stigma around anxiety is especially prevalent in the church and in the Black community, which I believe.
That's what I alluded to. Just being, in the church, it means that if you have anxiety, and the scripture, be anxious for nothing comes up a lot. But I think sometimes it's referred to in the wrong.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
In the wrong context, because anxiety sometimes is not just about worry. We worry, and I think when the scripture talks about be anxious for nothing, I think it's more referring to don't worry about it, trust God, right? And
right.
Is a little bit different from just worrying. There's a physical and physiological aspect of anxiety. So, in the church, it's like you just need to pray harder.
Yeah. Anxious for nothing, because you're never going to feel anxious. No, you're going to feel anxious.
Yes.
In your body, you're going to feel anxious, whether you like it or not. Whatever's going on in your mind, as we established, you can even feel physically. So even if you don't want to show somebody that you're going through something, your body could be telling you,
yes.
So as you said, I truly believe that too. I believe that God is saying, be anxious for nothing, because he knows we're going to be anxious. I'm saying, if you're anxious, I'm telling you how to deal with this anxious anxiety. Put your hope and trust in me. So I think you're right as well. I think it's been awesome. Okay, the question I usually ask, I've seen some people come in. God bless you, Dawn. Thank you ever so much for joining us today. Yeah, usually what I ask at the end of these conversations is if you were to this message or this experience that you've just shared with us all, who would you like to listen to it? Who is the person that you would say, I need you to listen to this? What group of people, what person would you want to hear this?
Well, I would definitely want the mom who feels like she has to do everything, and you have to be well to take care of your family and friends, the ones who are looking at other people thinking, oh, their lives are better than mine, and it feel like you're not you're not worthy or you're not enough, because a lot of times that's what leads to, for some people, anxiety. I would like the person who've been through a difficult time in their lives, who just can't seem to get past that, and everything they do, they don't want to fail, or they are holding themselves back because of the experiences that they've had. We're not the sum of our experiences, right? We we're children of God. He can help us through anything. And so, I think that there and not just women. Women are more prone or susceptible, but there are lots of men who are in environments where they are also feeling that they can't do something because they're afraid of failure, and or they're feeling overwhelmed, or comparison will steal your joy. So I think that it's the people who are in those situations that feel inferior and feel like they're anxious because they can't they're afraid of failure. I think those are the people that really I'd like everybody to hear it, but the people who will probably not talk to other people about it, who would just kind of suffer and go through life and just deal with these issues and think that it's okay because I'll just deal with it on my own. So
Thank you so much, Dr. Hope.
You're welcome.
It was
Thank you
such
so much for having me. This was fun.
yeah, I'm so happy. I feel like we learned. How many people feel like we just went to school or just had a
I
lecture?
hope it wasn't too
Oh,
professional.
wow, fun, you know the fun lectures. You know the teachers that you want to go and sit down with, not the ones that are like, oh, this one. Yeah. So, Sister Hope, where can we find you? Where can we find you?
On the internet, I have a YouTube channel called Hope Reid.
Yeah.
I have a Facebook page called Defining Hopes, and I also blog. I have a blog site at defininghopes.com. I started it many years ago, and I try to just put some information on a monthly basis. So those, or if you're local, some of you may not be, but I do have a chiropractic office. You can find me at hopechiro.com. I'll put that out.
Awesome. Yes. So Dr. Hope Reid's link, a YouTube link anyway, is in my description. So you guys know what to do already. Just go in my description and you can head over there. You will enjoy it. Like literally, I feel like she's our personal doctor because a lot of things that you probably want to go and hear from your doctor. Nobody, I'm not trying to go to the doctors right now in this whole virus season, but we have a virtual doctor right here. So we really appreciate you. I really appreciate you. Thank you ever so much for joining us today and sharing your story, with us and how you overcame. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you ever so much. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you. Guys, that was so good. Honestly, it was really, really good. I learned so much, and I feel like we all did as well. God bless you all. Yes. Angel K. Hayes, God bless you. Rose, God bless you. God bless you. Cadmus World, God bless you. Bryant, God bless you. Virtual Church, Sister Effa, God bless you. Sandra, God bless you. God bless you all. Uncle, God bless you. Dawn, Janice, God bless you. Thank you so much. Testimony Row, God bless you. Dr. Severin, God bless you. Speaking Grace TV, Sister Gwen, God bless you. Thank you. Be Love Inc. I saw you when you came in. Teo, God bless you. Miss Kenny, Grace Landa. I know there's a lot of people. God bless you all. I'm trying to wrap it up quickly. And that is really because we have our sister Shanti Bloom. She's literally, she should be on live now. So I'm going to wrap this up. And if we could all go and raid her, that would be great. Her name is Shanti Bloom on YouTube. Let's go and raise her and let's go and show her some love. God bless you all. Never forget to be inspired, be encouraged, be blessed. Mwah. Love you. Take care. Bye, 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 bye. See you over there.